It's time for the first spotlight segment, and to begin, I want to cover two dinosaurs in one segment. Grouping these two together wasn't a difficult decision to make, seeing as though these are the only two that can't do jack. These two dinosaurs are both classified as medium dinosaurs. Also, I want to make it clear that I will definitely butcher some of these pronunciations throughout the series, so please forgive me if it happens, as it probably will with these two. The Parasaurolophus is the first of these two dinosaurs, and even the most casual of dinosaur fans have probably seen this guy before in some place or another. Well, if you watch Jurassic Park, then you definitely have seen these guys in the background. Who knows how they truly behaved 65 million years ago, but Jurassic Park portrayed them as a herding animal. Parasaurolophus's most defining feature is that door handle-like head of theirs. In this game, though, they can't do much. They can run around, they can headbutt as an attack, and that's all, really. The Corythosaurus, though, functions the exact same way in this game, which is the other dinosaur I'm going to be covering in this segment. But instead of a door handle head, the Corythosaurus has a duck-billed mouth and what seems to be a built-in mohawk. Also, a strange color scheme is going on here. Looking up one of these guys online and in Jurassic World Evolution, another game based on this franchise, you can see the Corythosaurus has a similar color scheme, but it's a lot more muted. The yellow and brown plastered over top of this dinosaur in this game is a little distracting, no? Also, all dinosaurs in this game other than the baby versions have skeleton variants. How you unlock them is through story level collectibles. Finding the amber piece, which is this game's version of a red brick, unlocks a particular dinosaur, and getting all 10 minikits unlocks the skeleton variant of that same dinosaur. Personally, I'm not really a fan of the skeleton variants, but it's neat that they're here, and a creative way to reward the player for collecting all the minikits in a level. What's a little annoying though is that when you go to select a character, the variants cycle through every few seconds if a grid spot has multiple variants within it. All dinosaurs have the skeleton variant in the same slot as the standard dinosaur. I always try to play as the standard versions of dinosaurs, but if I'm not quick enough with the selection, I could accidentally select the skeleton variant. That's a little irritating to me. Like, is it that hard to be able to cycle through the variants manually with, I don't know, the bumpers or something? And would you look at that, I am way off base from the topic at hand. Long story short, Parasaurolophus, Corythosaurus, they don't do much. Honestly, they could have been excluded and no one would have noticed or cared. The Parasaurolophus is at least recognizable, but the Corythosaurus, he's here probably because they ran out of dinosaurs to assign to each story level. This is not a continuation of the dinosaur spotlight, but it might as well be. This is a small dinosaur with, once again, no abilities to its name. This is the Trudon, who has a very different appearance in this game than what science considers to be the most anatomically correct version of it. You look up Trudon on Google, you'll probably find a more feathery depiction of this guy. Now, I'm no paleontologist, please keep that in mind, and feel free to fact check me in the comments, because honestly, some of this dinosaur stuff gets confusing to a guy whose dinosaur experience consists of this film franchise and a short stint of being a dinosaur fanatic maybe 20 years ago. But to my understanding, birds are considered dinosaurs now, but not all dinosaurs were birds, so some had feathers and some didn't. And I think the Trudon is one of those that did, which brings up another interesting topic. Many of the species seen in Jurassic Park are just wrong. Well, in some Jurassic World films, feathered dinosaurs can be seen, but take velociraptors for example. It's been proven that they had feathers. Has the Jurassic Park films tainted the perception of raptors? I think they have. To be fair, in the 90s, it was the general consensus that velociraptors looked like how they did in Jurassic Park, but that's not the case anymore. But may I suggest a possible retcon to why the raptors aren't accurate? The scientists at InGen used existing animals' DNA to fill in the gaps of the missing genetic sequencing, as it's established in the movie. And one of the main animals they used were frogs. Maybe the frog DNA contributed to the non-feathered skin of the raptors? Wait, I'm supposed to be discussing the Trudon. Sorry if there's nothing to discuss. There's the skeleton variant, I guess, but that's not nearly as interesting as birds being classified as dinosaurs? What? Here we go, the last character without any abilities. It's been a tough trek, but we're here, and it's a flippin' Gallimimus. These guys were seen primarily in the first Jurassic Park film, where Alan Grant and the kids had to run and hide behind a log to avoid getting trampled by a herd of these guys, just for the herd to be ambushed by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. There was a chase sequence in the story mode for this game where you play as the protagonist running from advancing Gallimimuses. Also, there's a bonus level where it's the same exact chase sequence, but you play as a Gallimimus instead of humans. As always, there's a skeleton variant, nothing too special from that though. Based on their main appearance in the film, you'd probably think this guy is a bit of a speedster, but it doesn't really feel that way when you play as him. Yeah, probably a little faster than a regular human, but really nothing to write home about. There are races throughout the open world, but I don't think the Gallimimus is fast enough for those. Then again, I never tried. For the races, I defaulted to another dinosaur in this ranking that I legally cannot talk about yet. Wow, so soon into the series, and we're already seeing the guy responsible for everything. The guy responsible for the initial disaster at Isla Nublar, and later the exploitation of bioengineered creatures by slimy investors on Isla Sorna, which led to a Tyrannosaurus Rex being set loose in San Diego. In a third installment we don't really talk about much, but showed that these dinosaurs can actually breed even though it was thought they couldn't. And even then, it didn't stop a theme park from opening on Isla Nublar still, which led to a whole other trilogy of films. Point is, John Hammond sucks. Sure, we wouldn't have this franchise without his chase for innovation, but man, would I be pissed at him if I lived in that universe. John Hammond, the spared no expense guy. But he did spare us some abilities in this game. At the very least, he's gracing us with the first actual ability of this game. This new ability is called InGen. The InGen ability is basically this panel that's on a wall that those who had a job at Jurassic Park in any capacity can interact with. It opens up doors most of the time, usually to areas not available in story mode. The only thing is, you rarely see them outside of the Jurassic Park levels in the explorable Isla Nublar. He also has two variants. The standard variant is the classic John Hammond look with the straw hat and the white outfit. He was given another variant with his Lost World variant. He's just in his PJs. His deathbed outfit, basically. The most interesting thing about both of his variants is his cane that's topped with amber. I might not like Hammond, but man did he cook with that amber walking stick. Gimme it. If he can spare no expense, then he can just get another one, right? This Jurassic Park driver guy, Brickopedia surely has something on him. Brickopedia, tell me, what you got? What you got on him? Jurassic Park driver was a Jeep driver at Jurassic Park. Okay, well, I could have told you that. What Brickopedia didn't tell you is that this guy is based on the Jeep driver that was driving around the main characters during that iconic scene where Alan Grant first sees the dinosaurs and Hammond says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park." But that's it. You never see this guy again, and it just makes me wonder, where was he when the power went down in the park? Are we willing to bet he survived? Sure, he seemed pretty nonchalant in that one scene, but this guy has a whole life outside of the scene. He might have a wife, he might like to bake in his free time, perhaps even, God forbid, maybe the guy even has a name. We really truly know for sure that like 7 people survived. As for all the other staff on the island, who's to say? I just hope Jurassic Park driver could drive himself away from danger. Also, this guy has access to InGen panels. The reason why I ranked him and future characters with just InGen access above John Hammond is because they can double jump. Jurassic Park driver, the guy without a name, outranks the head honcho. That's a power move. Remember that naming notation I brought up with InGen Investor Gerald, where it's just a career title plus a random name? Here's another one. InGen Guard Jerry. Little did I know, this guy was actually in the movie, I just forgot about him entirely. In the Lost World, Jerry was the guard that released the cargo hold that let the Tyrannosaurus Rex out. So technically this guy is to blame for the whole San Diego fiasco, if we're not going to blame John Hammond for, kickstarting the whole dinosaur thing to begin with. As far as we know, InGen Guard Jerry escaped unscathed from the whole ordeal, but is at least partially responsible for any death that had happened. In case the affiliation stated in his name didn't clue you in, this guy has InGen access. Probably not anymore after that San Diego slip up, but at least as long as he wears that uniform, he can use those panels. But as InGen panels are a common ability in this game, you can bet there are a lot more characters that can do what he can do plus more. What's better than one InGen guard on the character roster? 0, actually. But here we are with 2. and I don't know how to feel about it. Here is InGen Guard Burner, InGen Guard Jerry's partner in crime. Honestly, they probably are just work acquaintances at best, and they both probably quit their jobs immediately after the San Diego incident, if not fired. In the film, Burner was the guy who discovered the people who died in the wheelhouse, which raises a weird plot hole. So it's established that it was the Tyrannosaurus Rex that was being transported on the ship that killed the entire crew. Rexy escaped from the cargo hold, killed everyone, and then was re-trapped into its containment by a crewmate who then bled out, and then was released again by InGen Guard Jerry. It makes no logical sense for the T-Rex to be able to get in those relatively tiny rooms and kill everyone. She's simply too large. Turns out, an early version of the script had a pack of velociraptors sneaking on board, which would have explained all the deaths in these areas that a T-Rex wouldn't be able to reach. For some unknown reason, that velociraptor plot detail was cut, which led to the most half-assed explanation for why every single crew member on the ship met an untimely demise, by trying to pin it all on the T-Rex. Kinda lame. Anyway, Burner was complicit in this plot hole by being in the scene, and not even his single ability of InGen access can excuse him from it. Next up, we have John Hammond's more obviously nefarious nephew, Peter Lllo. This guy took over as CEO of InGen, so let's get his ability out of the way. Peter Lllo, just like the last four guys, has just InGen access as an ability. As CEO of the dinosaur company, he took it upon himself to go to Isla Sorna to collect dinosaurs for a San Diego Jurassic Park. Even though Isla Nublar should have been a lesson learned, InGen was on the brink of bankruptcy, so Peter Lllo was just doing what he thought would save the company. And it didn't really. To be honest, I give Peter Lllo some props. Hear me out though. As a CEO, he could have just sent the hunters to Isla Sorna with a grocery shopping list of dinosaurs to retrieve. It's surprising to me that he decided to go along too. He didn't need to. Granted, he's still a slimeball, and his karmic death was at the hands of a baby T-Rex. Not even an adult. Anyways, Peter Lllo's Isla Sorna excursion is the reason for his two variants. His standard variant has him in a blue suit, and the other is his Isla Sorna variant wearing a vest. A vest? Okay, now I hate him even more. Yes, I am implying that a no-name Jurassic World employee is better than Peter Lllo, the ex-CEO of InGen. The Jurassic World worker is about as nondescript as it gets, and I can't seem to be able to pinpoint the exact extra in the film that this guy is based on. I have nothing to go off of, and the Wikipedia page for this guy doesn't even accurately depict the game version, but rather this female Jurassic World worker that appeared in physical LEGO sets. But the least I can do is introduce a new ability to the series that the Jurassic World worker has. The downside to that? It's really not at all different from what we've seen already. Instead of it being an InGen panel, it's a Jurassic World panel. Yes, they're different, and this one seems to be just a little more common than InGen panels. Barely more common, but still more common. It operates the same exact way too, where you just press the 3 arrow buttons that it displays, but the background is just futuristic. That's it. Who's next? Alright, we got a bad guy. I think? Well, this is one of the many guys hired by Peter Lllo to wrangle down some dinosaurs in Isla Sorna in the second film. In fact, you fight a few of these guys in the InGen Arrival level, which adapted the part of the film where the protagonists infiltrate the InGen camp and release the captured dinosaurs. But then the protagonists team up with Peter Lllo, so then these InGen scouts are good guys now, I guess? I don't know. But that's what I got on them. Wikipedia? Huh? Take it away. Inen Scout is a Jurassic World minifigure that appears in LEGO Jurassic World. Okay. Okay. Thanks for no help at all. Wikipedia is lucky the Inen Scout is introducing us to a new ability. The generator ability. Throughout the game, there are these not-so-subtle generators that are just itching to be juiced up with electricity. Those with these taser stick things can interact with them. Typically, these generators are used to power up machines and make them do something. Or to turn on lights, which is a pretty extreme way to do that, but I guess more extreme things have happened in this franchise. TT Games messed up with this guy. Handler Ellis may be what he's named in this game, and to be fair, he is a handler, but he's no Ellis. No, this guy is supposed to be named Nick Kilgore. Kilgore is an unfortunate last name to have considering this guy was one of the Indominus Rex's first victims. Now, as to why they didn't give this guy a real name, I see two possible scenarios. One, they didn't care enough to get it right. This one is very possible, and honestly, I don't blame them. Because, I wouldn't care either. The second, and probably also very plausible scenario, is that there are two guys named Nick in this game already, and both are obviously more important, seeing as we haven't seen them yet. So they just named him something else. And Kilgore, I know there's a lot of killing in Jurassic Park movies, and just enough gore to retain a PG-13 rating, but giving a guy the last name of Kilgore is a no-go. TT Games finds a way to turn every death in these movies into a slapstick gag. Seriously. But all that to say, we'll just call him Handler Ellis, and he has the single ability of Generator.